show starts in 3, 2, 1, go.
Good morning, CaneSport. It's July 26, 2021. I'm Gary Ferman, the publisher of CaneSport.com, flying solo this morning as we talk about the news of the day. And let's begin with some real exciting news, something that we're really happy to talk about. And that is CaneSport is announcing today that we have reached an NIL agreement with Mike Harley, who's going to be providing a blog for Hurricane fans this entire season on CaneSport.com. And, Mike Harley's a kid that we've watched, obviously, since he was in high school and in his time on the Miami campus. Things haven't always gone perfectly for Mike, but the one thing that always stood out to me, no matter what practice we watched, no matter what game we were at, Mike Harley was always going 100%. And every drill, every rep, to me, he just epitomizes what a Miami Hurricane and a college athlete is supposed to be all about. And when this NIL developed here in the last few weeks, the first player that we reached out to was Mike Harley, because we couldn't be prouder to affiliate with a young man like that. And we look forward to bringing his weekly blog to all of our readers at CaneSport.com this season. And we'll have some other NIL news coming up in the coming days as we do our best to participate and support the athletes who do so much for the fan base and provide so much entertainment year round. And, they deserve the support that they're getting from NIL, and CaneSport couldn't be happier to be able to participate in that with assistance from our sponsors and with assistance from our members at CaneSport.com, who are helping contribute to our NIL initiatives this year. So thank you to everybody who's participating in that. And thank you to Mike Harley for agreeing to partner with us this season. And we look forward to it every step of the way. All right, let's get to the other news of the day today. We take a look at the evolving situation in college football. By now, I'm sure everybody has heard about it with Oklahoma and Texas looking like they will be joining the SEC here in the near future. That obviously is going to have a massive effect and trickle-down effect, really, throughout college football. Ultimately, it'll probably affect just about every school and every conference. We expect Miami to, at some point, in some way, be affected by this shift in the college game. So we take a little bit of a look at what's happening, what might happen in the future, how it might affect the Canes in a column on the site this morning. All right, in other news, the dead period's over, which means coaches can get back to recruiting. Interesting weekend. Miami got a commitment from Texas linebacker Justin Medlock. That was a good development. The Canes need linebackers in this class. A couple went the other way. Daniel Lyons from South Dade area, he committed to Florida State. I'm not sure that he was a front burner recruit for the Hurricanes, but they definitely had him on their board and probably would have liked to see him stay loose for a while longer as the Canes sort of juggle their defensive line situation. There's some pretty good players that they're waiting on decisions from. Shamar Stewart from Miami Pace is one of them. Nigel Lee Kelly from Fort Lauderdale-Dillard is another. They're working it. You're seeing an attempt by the Canes to step up their game in recruiting. They don't have a ton of scholarships this year because of numbers. And, right now they also have 53 freshmen on the roster. So it's a young team. There's no reason to just fill slots. It's like if you're going to bring young players onto this roster, the prudent thing to do is make sure they're difference makers and guys that can compete at the highest level. And it looks to us like that's what the coaches are trying to do this year. And you're not going to see them just jumping up and taking every kid from South Florida who wants to commit, like maybe we've seen in some years past, because the standards, for the reasons I just mentioned, are a little bit higher this year. So Dead period's over, and that means that some of the top prospects are going to be back on campus here this week. One of them is Wesley Bissainthe, the linebacker from Miami Central. We take a look at that this morning with an update that you're going to want to check out. We continue a few series this morning. Our Pro Football Focus analysis takes a look at the overall numbers in relation to some of the other top teams in college football. And what you're going to see, as high hopes as everybody has for the Canes this season and what they might be able to accomplish, they're sort of going in when they play a team like Alabama, for example, with a short end of the stick. I mean, the Miami roster, in terms of quality talent coming back, is probably 50% of where Alabama is, even after all of the losses that the Crimson Tide suffered at the end of last year. So what does that mean? It means Canes are going to have to play a near-perfect game in Atlanta, September the 4th, to compete against the Tide. We already knew that. But a key thing to keep in mind is Miami doesn't have to play Alabama every week. And even though the roster might not be at an Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State level, it is at a strong enough level to compete with pretty much everybody on the schedule. So Miami does have a chance to have a really good season this year, but we kind of show you how the talent returning based on Pro Football Focus grades stacks up against the other top teams in the country. So that's an interesting story for you guys to check out. Our State of the U series continues with a look at the defensive back position depth and a look at special teams. Continuation of that series, which is starting to wind to a close. If you've missed any segments of that along the way, they're all linked at the top of that story. You can go back and refresh yourself on that. We also take a look today at Central Connecticut. We're starting to preview the opponents on the schedule this year, and today Central Connecticut is up, and you could check that one out. Other stories that are on the site this morning, we do have a separate update on Nigel Lee Kelly that you'll find interesting. Story that we put up over the weekend on De'Ara King, who's the top performer returning based on Pro Football Focus grades. And then, of course, we had that coverage of the Justin Medlock commitment as well over the weekend. So lots for everybody to sink their teeth into. I hope you enjoy it today. We'll be monitoring recruiting real hard this week. Obviously, with the dead period over, there are going to be kids visiting campus. We'll be all over that for you. I'm sure we'll have more NIL news this week. We brought you the story at the end of last week on the Yummy Crypto decision to sponsor every Miami basketball player, copying the deal of American Top Team with the football team. Each Miami basketball player will have the opportunity to get $6,000 in NIL from Yummy Crypto. Congratulations to the players on that. Congratulations to Yummy Crypto for their support of Miami basketball. And we'll have some more CaneSport NIL news later this week. So for now, I'll say enjoy your day, and until next time, goodbye, everybody.